Let's see. Now we're on the air. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Lock and Load Show. It's Monday night. And wanted to talk about the state of Hawaii. I mean, I hear there's basically all the gun grabbers are out in force and with all the same memes and trying to do all the same stuff that they've always tried to do. And except they've come up with a new word in Hawaii. It sounds really cool. Multiburst trigger activators prohibited. I mean, basically, I think I went on a lobby and we talked about this in a lobby, but you guys weren't here. So any person in the state, again, this is Hawaii, who manufactures or causes to be manufactured, imports into the state, keeps for sale, offers or exposes for sale, or who gives, lends, or possesses any multi-burst trigger activator shall be guilty of a Class C felony. So let me get back to it here, go down. And then they have to define exactly what a multi-burst trigger activator is because they just made up that word. Let's make up a word and then ban it because it sounds like something from World of Warcraft or from some online game, like maybe Call of Duty. You give them some money, you can get a multi-burst trigger activator, whatever that is. So what it says it is
go full semi-automatic.
A device that simulates automatic gunfire by allowing standard function of semi-automatic firearm with a static position trigger finger, or a device that fires multiple shots with the pull and release of the trigger, or a manual or power-driven trigger activating device constructed and designed so that when attached to the semi-automatic firearm, it simulates automatic gunfire. And the Senate bill, which is going to be, I guess, merged with the House, it passed the Senate and the different version in the House. And the Senate said this act shall take effect on July 1st, 2050. And I'm like, well, should I not? Might not be even alive then. But when they do the House version of it, then that House version, that one says it's as soon as they. Where is it? The House version has a different wording as far as when it takes effect. Otherwise, it's mostly the same. Yeah, this act shall take effect upon its approval. And they talk about a trigger crank here too. Trigger crank means any device that may be attached to a semi-automatic firearm that repeatedly activates the trigger. So they got multi-burst activator. I want a hand phaser with a multi-burst activator. The firearm through the use of the lever, or however you pronounce it, or other part that is turned in a circular motion, but does not include any firearm initially designed and manufactured to fire through the use of a crank or lever. And again, so when they combine these, I'm sure that our left-wing communist governor from Japan will sign it. And so basically, after a brief conversation on my last ammo run with a gun shop guy, he thinks that what the police are going to do, if they pass this law, they're going to interpret this to mean that any gun that has a reset trigger on it will be in violation of this law, which is every modern firearm has a reset trigger, to my knowledge. I mean, maybe some single action black powder from the 1850s doesn't have a reset on the trigger, but I think every modern firearm has a reset on the trigger. And so if that's how the police interpret it, they just banned every gun short of black powder revolvers or black powder rifles when they pass this. And the question is there going to be are they going to try and use the police force as some jackboot thugs to go door to door and say, okay, here's a list of everybody that's registered a firearm, go collect them. They're all in violation of this law, and then what's going to be the result of that? And I heard that some other silly crap happening in Illinois too. That I don't know if Dano, I didn't see some of the lobbies in the last day or two, but I heard they're going to ban a bunch of stuff in Illinois, and anything over a 10-round mag, even for rifles. And man, I just I think the state of Illinois
is trying to do more here too. They're trying to. The state senators in Massachusetts had a special 2-hour meeting where they tried to figure out what else they could ban to try to make people safer. They're not really sure yet, but they want to pass extreme protection orders, even though there's already stuff that's more than good in place. There's already other measures they can take. They want to ban even more, and they also, some people are gunning for pre-ban magazines. Representative David Linsky, really, every single time he wants to come after him.
Yeah, they're gonna want you to show up and turn them all in. Like, that's not gonna happen.
So they're even trying in this state.
Yeah. Well, it seems to me that depending on how the police department determines this particular law in the state of Hawaii, they could just decide that any modern firearm is in violation of this code, and therefore they're going to go and knock on everybody's door and ask for them back. And I think
look at what Maura Healey did. She reinterpreted the assault weapons ban from 1998, which was a copy and paste of the '94 assault weapons ban in my state.
Yeah,
she came up with her own new definitions.
And in the Ninth Circuit, they definitely aren't gonna. I can't see the Ninth Circuit. They're just a bunch of political hacks wearing robes. They aren't real judges, so they'll just go along with anything. And the Supreme Court doesn't want to hear Second Amendment cases. It's just going to be people are either going to hide their guns or take some kind of action to safeguard their firearms from being confiscated. And I don't know how many people are on the police force that would follow an unconstitutional order or based on a law like this. But I mean, I imagine there's some, and I don't think it would turn out well for the country, the state, or the police department, or the people. It wouldn't turn out well for anybody if they were to do something like that. I think they should follow the Constitution. There's even a Second Amendment in the Hawaii state constitution. It says the exact same thing as in the federal Constitution, Bill of Rights. So, but when you just have political appointee police chiefs, then I guess they can do whatever they want until they can't do it anymore. I gotta find one more thing. One last stupid thing, that the most stupid law that I thought the straws from the last show when we talked about that the law in California of they proposed a law, and I think they passed it, which was if against straws, plastic straws, if a waiter at a restaurant put a straw in a glass with a drink for a customer, that was $1,000 fine and 6 months in jail. That wasn't stupid enough for California. They had to top it somehow, and I think they did. Let me kind of get the screenshot of it up. They actually passed a law regulating cow farts.
Didn't some scientists find out that cow farts were more dangerous to the environment than all cars put together or something?
They contain methane, apparently. So which is a greenhouse gas or something. Yes.
Yeah, regular farts do too.
So not only are the people leaving California, and so many people are leaving San Francisco that if you want to rent a U-Haul and drive it from San Francisco to Las Vegas, the rental is $2,000 because everybody's moving out and there aren't enough to go around. But if you want to rent a U-Haul and go from Las Vegas to California, it's only $200.
Wow.
So, right. It's all about staging equipment. If you're taking something somewhere where they need it, you're going to get a better rate. They do the same thing with air freight. Flying something from China to America costs a lot in relative terms because we import stuff from China. But when you fly from America to China, air freight, you get a discounted rate because a lot of those planes are going over empty and coming back full. And I don't mean a lot in terms that people are thinking it's more than airfare or something, but in relative terms, it's all about logistics.
Yeah. Anyway, so if you're leaving San Francisco, you better just buy a car and then bring it back or something and say, oh, I don't like it in 3 days. If you can move in 3 days, I don't know what you do. If you're in San Francisco, you're just screwed. But anyway, here's this law.
That's why everybody should have a truck.
You go rent one in Las Vegas and drive back. You'll save the money and time and gas.
California just passed a law regulating California. So Jerry Brown signed this. In California's consistent quest to put the plug in global warming, the Smurf blue state has turned its attention to dairy cow derrieres and the gases said bovine backsides issue forth. According to Fox 5 News in New York, California Governor Jerry Brown signed legislation into law that will limit the methane gas rising from the farms created by the cows belching, farting, and manure. Methane is a much more unfriendly greenhouse gas than carbon dioxide, and while some would celebrate this as another step towards curbing global warming, there is no such thing as global warming. We're entering an ice age. The law was signed in the face of much protest by California farmers. So the farmers are pulling out. So if you need milk in California for your latte at Starbucks, you're going to have to import it. Your price is going up for Starbucks. Dairy farmers said the new regulations will drive up costs when they're already struggling with 5 years of drought, low milk prices, and rising labor costs. In order to help farmers cope with the new legislation, California is said to be setting aside $50 million in taxpayer money to equip dairy farms with digesters, which are large machines that can turn the methane gas captured by manure into electricity. Sadly, the state does not have enough to go around for the largest milk producer in the U.S., holding some 1,500 farms. Sadly, not all farmers can afford to purchase a digester.
As big as agriculture is in California, this guy is an idiot. He's shooting himself in the foot.
Where's everybody else going to go? What's the next cheapest state to start farming in?
Well, I guess all the cows going to move to Arizona too?
California has got the agriculture because of the weather. That's why they've got it.
And well, they have a history of it, and they've also have a history of inexpensive labor from Mexico. What was that other Charles Bronson movie, Mr. Majestic, where he was a watermelon farmer? No matter how you slice it, it would seem California is going to drive further business out of its state with regulations that its business owners cannot keep up with, and it will soon lose many of the farms that help its already burdened economy. Yeah, of course.
That's okay. The state will just start running the farms inefficiently, and they'll become complete
Venezuela
100% socialist. Yeah,
Venezuela. That's what happened in Venezuela with the oil company. So the government tried to run the oil companies, and they completely failed.
Yeah, so that's what they'll have to do in order to meet the demand, and it's just going to be hemorrhaging money even more, and they're going to hemorrhage money even more.
Yeah, I think
because everybody will be equal.
Trump is going to California to look at some prototype walls sections. I mean, the country's fucking crazy. Anyway, last week, sorry we missed the show last week. Gun channels went down. Basically there was a software update on gun channels that broke all the individual channel text rooms completely, and I don't think it's been fixed yet. So we're kind of doing this on the fly. I did post a link on gun channels to the show on the one page that seems to be working. But all the individual channel pages are down for the count right now, and G-Web said he was going to try and get it back up as soon as possible, but that's just the way it rolls on the internet sometimes. And I couldn't even get anything. I couldn't even fire up a show last week for some reason. And so who knows? Anyway, there's that one. So, but multiburst trigger activators, it just sounds so cool. It's like I want one, whatever it is. But I think
something on a railgun or an impulse rifle.
Well, it sounds like when the hunters in World of Warcraft had multi-shot. You pull the trigger once, and it basically shoots out like 20 shots with one trigger pull and it all simultaneously hits everything in the room, and it also aggroes. So if you shoot it in a dungeon full of creatures, they all basically look at you, and instead of attacking someone else, they all come to attack the guy who fired the multi-shot. So, but it sounds like an addition to a World of Warcraft hunter's gun. But they came up with this word, and then because they wanted it to sound like something they could ban. It's like, yeah, multi-burst triggers are bad. I mean, I don't even know what a multi-burst trigger is. I'm probably not, if I do upgrade any of my triggers, I'm not going to be making any videos of it, but I don't think that'll make a difference. Given the state's history, I just imagine they're going to want everyone to turn in their guns. You're making so much noise, Jared.
I've just got home, so.
All right.
You're just sensitive HVS.
Well, I mean, people have to listen. It's mostly an audio show, so.
Yeah, for those of us who are deaf, he's not that loud.
All right. Well, I was an audio engineer back in the day in California. So yeah, I am going to be going.
Yeah, you notice that stuff.
Yeah, if somebody is bashing their microphone up against the wall, I would notice that. But I am going to be going to California and escorting my folks to Prescott, Arizona for a week, celebrating my birthday out there. And we're just going to, because I don't get to see my folks that often. My dad's 83. So we just want to spend a little time while we still can together. And I'm going to check out the Ruger factory. And I'm going to go to Dawson Knives. I'm going to find them where I got my 5-inch camping blade. The manufacturer's company is there. I'm going to check out them and their forge facility there. And I get to open carry for a week. Should be awesome. So, oh yeah, what else I needed to share? So in case anybody hasn't been following, I think I did a video a couple weeks ago about a volcano that exploded called Mount Cinnabung, but that's not all the volcanoes that are exploding. Just last night, there was another volcano in Japan that has been exploding and exploded yet again. And I'm not talking just erupting. I mean exploding. So, let me do another screen share if I can. Here we go. So this is bottom of Kyushu Island, and that's Mount Kirishima and basically another volcano like on the same mountain is called Shimo. I'm going to mispronounce this, Shimodake. And this plume of volcanic pyroclastic expulsion is basically going into the atmosphere. That's Shimodake, south part of Japan. Here's a screenshot of Google Earth for the. Here's Kirishima. Kirishima, by the way, in case nobody knows, was the name of a battleship that was sunk in the Battle of Iron Bottom Sound by the USS Washington off the Solomon Islands in World War II. But I got some video around here. There's some pictures of it exploding. Actually, live video of it. I'm going to try and find it. pull up the screen. And so this was like yesterday, I'm pretty sure. Basically, in a minute, you'll see all this lava just exploding into there it is. So eventually, this is going to all this stuff being, all this material being floated up into the stratosphere is going to lead to global cooling, along with this grand solar minimum. And so that's why whenever people give you the global warming crap, I mean, just all you guys have to do is look outside to see that it's bullshit. But
yes, that's true. It's snowing right now.
Yeah, so in case anybody's new and hadn't heard me talk about it in the last couple of shows, we're in a grand solar minimum. Every 11 years, the sun cycles between a maximum and a minimum, and every 400 years, you get a grand solar minimum where it gets less radiance from the sun, and so the Earth cools down a little. And there's also an impact on increased volcanic activity, especially with the Earth's magnetosphere dropping, losing its power, and basically what appears to be a magnetic flip happening. That's not a polar flip, that's just a magnetic flip, where the North Pole heads south and the South Pole heads north. And this is all happening around the Ring of Fire. All the volcanoes that have been exploding recently. I'm only bringing this up because I am the Hawaii volcano spot, so I do kind of, I mean, it's interesting, really. That's why I'm bringing it up. But the volcanoes that have gone up, there's one in the Philippines, Mayon volcano, that erupted recently, and there's one in, this is a really cool time lapse of it, but there was the other recent one, Mount Sinabung in Indonesia, just a week ago or so.
Cinnabon.
Sinabung with an S, not a C.
Cinnabon.
Yes. Well, however you pronounce it, it's it's a huge. I had a video of that one on my channel. You can go look at it later. But so this is a time lapse of Shimodake, and that doesn't sound like a pastry. At least it doesn't in English. But so this is in the southern part of Japanese.
See, I wasn't sure at first if that was footage of the volcano or of the battleship, because you said.
Well, Mount Kirishima, the battleship, was named after the mountain, but yeah, that was not. I don't think they had color video film of the ship sinking. They were kind of too busy trying to save a bunch of Marines on Guadalcanal. I think that was where the famous quote where the admiral on the USS Washington said, "Make way, I'm coming through." So all the other cruisers and destroyers could get the hell out of the way, because there was two battleships cruising down the slot, and two Japanese battleships, and then the Enterprise detached, I think, the South Dakota and the USS Washington to fight them off and keep them off the Marines because they were Japanese battleships were trying to escort a bunch of troops that they were trying to land on the canal back in World War II. But anyway, thank God Japan is now our friend. And anyway, it's enough for that. Cows. All right. So how are you guys surviving life below zero there? I mean, the East Coast and Michigan, is it, how bad is it?
It's snowing today, but it's not heavy. It's just enough to make the road slick. Got to put a little salt down. That's about it.
I heard that there was the possibility of the aurora borealis actually reaching parts of Michigan.
That would be the Upper Peninsula, or maybe, if you're lucky, the Upper Lower Peninsula. But I mean, you're talking about a minimum 4-hour drive for me, and it happens sometimes. It's really rare.
Yeah, I think a couple days ago there was a solar string that I mean, even though we're in a minimum, there's occasionally stuff that happens on the sun that could put enough activity, electromagnetic activity into the stratosphere to extend the area that the aurora borealis interacts with the stratosphere. I mean, the solar wind and material from solar activity interacts with the Earth's atmosphere and changes the area that appears in. But anyway, mostly I want to talk about guns and not. It's just that when people start talking about global warming, it's like they're just repeating dogma all the time, and it's. I mean, I think New York is buried in snow. I mean, how's the weather in you're in Maryland, Rupan, right? Jared, you're in Maryland. So how's the weather there?
No, I'm in Massachusetts.
You're Massachusetts. I knew it began with an M.
It's fine right now. It's cold, but it's actually not even that cold. But supposedly we're going to get a fuck ton of weather coming our way. So.
Yeah, it was the last.
Looking at,
another nor'easter.
Yeah, we're looking at 15 to 20 inches. So tomorrow, yeah, another nor'easter. Correct.
The last one was Quinn, I think, and the next one is what? I forget what they're calling it. I don't
know what it's called, but I do know, like, everybody I know is like, oh, fucking global warming's terrible. It's terrible, man. The storms keep hitting us. It's all over.
Yes, generally snow is not caused by global warming. I mean, is that so difficult for people to understand? And it's, I think it was that movie. What was that movie with Dennis Quaid about the environmental thing where global warming and somehow causes it to snow, and New York is buried in snow the day before last, or the last day before, the day after, or something like that. They keep playing that, and it's like the science is okay for a movie plot, but it's completely bogus. And to basically, it's just another reason for them. Basically, they want to
look at Al Gore's
companies.
Video. Look at Al Gore's
No, I'm
video
not going to look at Al Gore's video.
No, he predicted that water would be like at the pouring into the 9/11 memorial in so many years. So then in the beginning of his video, this is the only thing I know about it, he cuts, one of the storms, he cuts to water pouring in. Like, oh, it's proof that I'm right. It's like, no, you said that it was.
Those are the reflecting pools. There's water pouring in right now. Man-made.
Speaking of man-made water, I've got my
sorry, Jared. I got triggered. Sorry.
No, but I mean, he's showing video from a storm. Like, dude, you're showing a storm. You're not talking about an everyday thing. Like supposedly when we made the prediction, it was like global warming and the water levels were going to rise so much over so many years that there would be water in, wherever they did, Manhattan, or wherever the hell it is.
Well, basically, your mic keeps going up and down, and sometimes it just blares out too loud. I swear I'm going to buy you a new mic one of these days. But it's the only thing that could really cause the water to go up anytime soon is if the magnetosphere keeps getting weaker and weaker. The solar wind has hydrogen particles, and the ionosphere has ionized oxygen, and you put those together, you get H2O, and then basically you get rain from space, and that's one theory is for how you can get that had Noah's Ark biblical kind of flooding, but it's not going to happen from global warming or any man-made effect. It's happening from. I mean, right now we're entering an ice age. Everything's getting colder. If you're above a certain latitude, or you live in Canada, for example, I mean, some parts of Canada are just ridiculously. I mean, I don't think you can do anything because of the weather. It's just freezing.
I'm glad I don't live there. It was like 40 degrees today, and that was great. I felt like I went outside with a t-shirt on earlier. It was so warm.
40 degrees, you go outside with a t-shirt, man, you're crazy.
Well, you get used to the weather. You get used to crazy ass weather, and that's what you get.
Yeah, I go out in a t-shirt in 40 degrees.
I'm too old for that shit. But I was trying to say earlier, I got my countertop H2O Labs water distiller up and running, and it's distilling water, and it's pretty cool. I did a couple of it basically hit 1 gallon each capacity, each load.
Okay, I'll tell you what was in the yellow box you couldn't read. It was, what are you going to do with that in a grid down situation?
I'm gonna need backup electricity. There is a survival one that works off of just heat. But it's like, for what it is, I know it's made in America and not made in China, so they charge you $300 for basically a distiller that you could put on a fire and it would work. But it's kind of a lot of money considering how cheap pans are at Walmart, which sell from China, obviously, and everybody knows that Trump is putting on tariffs on steel from China. But what am I going to do? My electrical preps need work. I'm going to need. It doesn't require much. This distiller, it's just basically a boiling pot and a fan, and that's it. So it wouldn't take much electricity to work it. So any generator could easily run it, and I could get all the water distillation I need as long as I had fuel to power up a generator. I could run it off of solar panels too if I had them. But I'm looking at. I showed you guys some homes I'm looking at. I'm trying to get out of the condo. In the condo, if the power goes out, you're fucked. But for grid up, it's the reason I got the electric water distiller is because if I'm going to be moving to the first house we made an offer on didn't go through, but if I'm going to be moving up onto the volcano and it's on catchment water, I wanted to have a way to 100% purify it because of there's some of the Center for Disease Control is alerts about rat lungworm, and so I need to 100% purify the water that I'm going to be drinking, because rat lungworm is a pretty crappy way to die, or just get sick from. Like, you bleed out your eyes, and it feels like your brain is exploding. So that's a parasite I like to keep out of my water. So as a prep, it's pretty good to be able to distill water. So my next on my agenda after I move out of the condo will be working on energy power sources for that'll be a big thing. But I'll work on one project at a time. I can't just instantly become super prepper overnight. These things take time. And so all I can do is hope we have the time, and hopefully we won't need any of these preps. But I made my oatmeal today with some distilled water, distilled cut oats, and was McCann's Irish steel cut oats, and pretty good. And so I think the capability to distill water is a pretty good one to have. The H2O Labs, what's particularly good about this particular brand is that it has a steel. The dome is made out of steel. I got a stainless steel one, but the dome is made out of stainless steel. And some of the less expensive brands the domes are made out of plastic. And because the water will eventually warp the plastic, and then the thing will leak, and then you'll have to throw it away and buy a new one. So having a steel dome is a pretty important thing if you're going to have a countertop electric-powered water distiller, I think. Anyway, it's all set up and good to go. As long as the grid's up or I have some kind of power, I can distill water. I have other ways to filter water, but water distillation is like numero uno for purity, I would think. I think I would get out any radioactive particles too. I don't think the radioactive particles, if there was any radioactivity that got into some water, that would distill it out. I mean, the particles wouldn't make it through the steam. They stay in the boiling pot, and then you'd have to, if you had a radioactive boiling pot, then eventually it wouldn't be used. So you probably couldn't do that too much, but hopefully we don't have. Hopefully Trump can figure something out with Kim Jong-un, and they won't. We won't have to go nuclear, or neither will they. But who knows? That's the whole thing about Trump and bump stocks is. I was listening to Fox News and people making excuses for Trump, and the best one I heard was that this is his game. This is game theory or game strategy theory. What he does is he says something absolutely ridiculous. He wants to get from point A to point B. This is how he negotiates. Okay, and so he says something completely ridiculous, and says, "I'm going to agree to this ridiculous thing," and so. Okay, like I'm going to meet with Kim Jong-un. Okay, I'll go meet with you. And they get him in a meeting, but whatever he said originally, that like gets tossed out. And what he tries to get to where he wants to go by the end of the negotiations, and not what he actually said to kick off the whole thing off. So
he's playing 4D chess, all right, yeah.
But I don't know. I don't want to make excuses for Trump. I don't like that he said that we're gonna seize everybody's firearms and worry about due process later. But it is like it is consistent. It does kind of make sense with how he negotiates stuff.
Or if you look at stop and frisk, he was very much for stop and frisk.
Well, I don't know how bad it was in New York before Giuliani took over. I mean, I saw the Death Wish with Charles Bronson, where every time he walked down the street at night, somebody tried to mug him and then he shot him. But that was a movie. I know New York used to be a lot worse than it was before Giuliani took over and tried to clean it all up. Anyhow, so that's pretty much all the preps and stuff and exploding volcanoes and multiburst trigger activator shit that I got. What are you guys working on?
I have a rail coming for my my fax and pencil barrel upper. So I finally managed to finagle a rail, and I'm going to go ahead and put that together. I've had the barrel since Black Friday. So
From Palmetto State Armory?
No, they don't ship to Massachusetts. No, it's from Optics Planet. Optics Planet. Well, no, I never. No, let me rephrase that. I never got my order from Optics Planet. I'm still waiting. But I just decided to go ahead and order a rail anyways.
There's a long wait from them anyhow, but they're jerks. I'm cleaning up my language.
BC Truck Rebuild Repair Repurpose says, I would hide my guns under a pile of job applications. The Democrats can't get near them. It's like kryptonite. Survivalist Shaman says, do I know about Talos? No, I don't know about Talos. They are using HARP to punch in California as besieged country. They're using HARP to punch a hole in the ground and drain the lakes. Mount Shasta is a new Lemuria. Well, when I was a kid, I was actually up at Mount Shasta. It's basically a big crater lake. It's called Crater Lake. I was there when I was a kid. So I take it all the noise is from something. I don't know. So Survivalist Shaman, I hear it's cold up in the UK. That's where you're from, right? So I hope you have something to keep you warm up there, because I've been hearing it's real cold up there.
Yeah, I wonder if he's ever heard of English shooting. If you're in the UK, check out his YouTube channel, English Shooting. The guy's name is Callum, and he does a pretty good show.
English shooting. Okay. I think Survival Shaman is more into martial arts training kind of stuff. From what I remember, I was on a few live chats with him on Fox Company Prepping when he was still doing shows. I don't know what happened to Ron Swanson, by the way, but hope he's doing okay. But he's I think Survival Shaman is more into martial arts training.
It doesn't hurt to get plugged into the firearms industry.
Is there a firearm industry in the UK?
Well, see, that's the reason. I saw the guy in a BBC article about gun owners in England, and it was from like a couple years ago. So I searched for his YouTube channel, and boom, there it is. So I started watching it, and I started learning more and more about their gun laws, what's going on with them over there. And now I'm part of like a Facebook group that he has, and I mean,
okay,
it's pretty funny.
What's the name of the channel again?
English Shooting.
English Shooting. Okay.
And they got they got semi-automatic 22 long. They have pistols that would qualify as short barrel rifles here, or maybe not. I don't know. They got pistols. They're allowed to have suppressors. They call them mufflers. And obviously, center fire rifles have to be straight pull only. They just recently banned, or maybe they did, or maybe they didn't. I'm not exactly sure. The rifles, there was a certain type of rifles where you had to pull the trigger twice to get the gun to cycle.
Pull the trigger twice to get the gun to cycle.
Yeah, I forget what the name was, but it was like a trigger modification. So you could have a center fire rifle, but you'd have to pull the trigger twice to get the bolt to close.
That sounds
I'm pretty sure they... Yeah.
Like a modification I would want to undo.
They ended up banning those. I'm not sure if they were trying to ban 50 cals too.
Oh, that's no fun. Everybody wants a 50 cal. And that's the whole thing. Did you guys hear about the 18-year-old that's suing Dick's at Walmart because they won't sell him a gun? I mean,
yep.
And the local gun shop here, he doesn't want to. He's got it on his website that he doesn't want to sell it to anybody. You have to be over 21 to buy a gun from him. And I think Squib was saying on a lobby, or maybe was it a couple weeks ago, when if you're 18 in the United States and you join the military trusts you with an M4, 120 millimeter mortar, maybe a Javelin anti-tank missile, or a Ma Deuce 50 caliber automatic machine gun. And so if they come off duty, they're not allowed to buy a long gun and go hunting.
With packages of explosives.
Yeah,
packages and packages of C4.
Yeah, and as soon as you get off duty, they don't trust you anymore. I feel that just doesn't make any sense. And not that I expect gun control to make sense. I mean, it's like the gun control people, the gun grabbers are out in force across the country doing marches in schools. And
my fiance's cousin, I think it's her cousin, she's posting all sorts of stuff saying the NRA is a terrorist organization.
One of some governor or mayor said that. I don't know who it was.
She posted the video. Everybody's been sharing the video of that lady who's running for U.S. Senate, and she cut the barrel down on an AR-15 to try to destroy it. But all she did was create a short-barreled rifle. And she claims that it's okay because she turned it in to police shortly after. No, honey, it's not okay. You can't make an SBR and then go, oh, no. I turned it in. Like that.
I mean, didn't you see Terminator? Just go to a steel. Well, actually, there aren't any probably steel companies left hardly. But if there was one, you could go in and throw it into a big pot of smelting steel, like in Terminator.
Well, she was trying to destroy it.
Which one was that? Terminator 2 or 3?
I hope they prosecute her, because if me or you got a barrel recrowned and the dumb gunsmith ended up cutting the barrel just below 16 inches, 15 and 7/8 or whatever, Now they're gonna fucking, if they find out, they'll prosecute your ass. Where meanwhile,
Yeah, they test that. That's the only thing that the firearms clerk in Hawaii checks. She has a stick that is exactly 16 inches, and she sticks it in every rifle barrel to check it. So if you have 15 and 3/4, they'll go ballistic. But
well, what I'm saying is like, they're probably not gonna go after her. She deserves to be charged with illegally manufacturing a short-barreled rifle. The laws are there. Like they never prosecute anybody. They let people go all the time in Massachusetts. Like someone's trying to generate a list of all the times in at least like the past 5 years that they've let people go for firearms charges or let them off. And it's unbelievable how many people they just say, oh, whatever, oh, he gave us somebody else, or we, plea bargain this, we dropped the firearms charges. Why do we even have the gun laws?
I don't know. They don't. They're all unconstitutional. That's the way I feel about it. Is as an American, you're required to disobey unconstitutional laws that are unlawful. But anyway, I wanted to say hello to Dusty. Glad you can make it. How you doing?
Let's see.
Oh, he hit the mute button. So I guess he's still working on his computer or something. All right. Yeah, I just feel like if the Hawaii's gun laws, that its hunting code is blatantly just unconstitutional. If you have the wrong kind of ammo, if you have a 22 LR rifle and you want to take your kid to teach him how to go shooting with a 22, then the DLNR shows up and writes you a ticket and confiscates your guns, and it's basically the whole and they made a big deal recently about opening up a new shooting range, and so people that have guns would have a place to go on the Big Island because there isn't an official shooting range at all, and it's been trying to be blocked by politicians and since forever, and they finally got one approved. But again, it's not for gun owners. It's only if you have a hunting license. If you pay the state $20 and you have to sign your hunting license, which means you agree to all the hunting regs, which are completely unconstitutional. I don't want to give them their $20 anymore a year for a hunting license. I took the course, but it's like the hunting course, and I have a hunter's ed card, and I have had hunting license in the past, but ever since they passed that, the governor signed the codes that basically anything you do is like, if you have full metal jackets, just not if you're shooting full metal jackets, but if you just have one anywhere, then they can confiscate all your weapons. And it's like, you know what? Even if you want to go to this hunting range, you have to have a hunting permit. You can't just own a gun and go. I mean, and the Second Amendment is not about hunting. They didn't write the Second Amendment because they wanted to go hunting. So, anyway, it's going to feel really strange to go to Arizona for a week and just be able to open carry, walk right by the courthouse and right by the police station, and walk into a bar and figure out which handgun I'm going to borrow one of my dad's handguns, and I'm going to try and visit the Ruger factory. And I heard they don't let you can't bring a handgun to the Ruger factory. I mean, have plenty there, but and also the Dawson Knife Forge factory. It's more like a shop where I got one of my 5-inch Dawson camping knife out of Prescott, Arizona. But my folks are thinking about moving there. I don't know. I know it snows occasionally in Prescott, and I prefer the tropical warm climate. But I guess some of my panelists have to put up with snow, and I guess they're more used to it than I prefer to be unaccustomed to it. I could get used to the gun laws in Arizona, and also they don't charge any taxes on gold and silver, which is pretty cool if you want to sell it. If it should go up as the banks collapse, but anyway. All right, I'm going to go check out if anybody has anything else to add or wants to talk about anything else. I'm going to take a quick look at the external on YouTube.
Okay, I should have things on now.
Hey, Dusty, how you doing, man?
Pretty good. How are you?
Oh,
Just busy.
yeah, I've got like 3 guns I'm working on, and like 3 of my long guns. I'm doing a little bit of work on all of them, and I got my new water countertop water distiller going, 1 gallon at a time. Patrick, no, there's no way to all the channels. The last upgrade to the software that runs gun channels. To answer your question, Patrick asked, "Is there still no way to gun channels in a show chat?" No, the last upgrade to the software that G-Webs pays to service gun channels basically. It basically broke all the individual show channels. All of them are broken. I could send you a link if I had your email. If you want to come on the show, I will try and send a link to your channel, Pat. Sever Zero says, "Did you guys cover Illinois' BS we are about to have to deal with?" I bet Dano would know about a lot of the stuff in Illinois, or Illinois. Sorry, I mispronounced it. All I know is that state is so broke. I think they're going to ban rifle mags over 10 rounds. And are they banning ARs in Illinois?
I'm not sure.
I haven't heard.
All right. Well, I know how to find out real quick. Let me get on my...
I usually watch the Obnoxious one, but I missed his live show either today or yesterday.
All right, let's go to I'll just go to the Firearms Policy Coalition's website. Put a new tab, and I'm sure everything bad, all the gun control crap will be listed on the latest news. Let's see. California's new gun laws, or Gun Owners of America. Get the cow show. We tried to cover everything, but there's so much anti-gun stuff happening. It's hard to keep up with all of it. Close this window and open up also Gun Owners of America. Might have something on it. Guns.com. Dems propose up to 50% tax on guns and ammo to fund something. Pay for research on gun violence. Jesus. I don't know what a waste that'll be. Governor Rick Scott signed something. I'm looking for it on the... I thought I got an email. It may have been from Gun Owners of America. Let me hit the legislative button. Guns.com. Here it is. Let me screen share this. All right, I've got your story for you. Hit the screen share button real quick. Firearms Policy Coalition. More counterproductive and ineffective gun control measures are passed in Illinois via Guns.com. Democrats prevailed in the lower chamber of the Illinois General Assembly on Wednesday, sending 1 gun control bill to Governor Bruce Rauner's desk and 3 to the Senate for further consideration. Headed to Rauner, a Republican, is a long-stalled Senate proposal to require additional licensing for gun stores in the land of Lincoln. The trio of bills booted up to the Senate aimed to ban bump stocks, establish a 72-hour waiting period for commonly owned semi-automatic rifles, and up the age to buy guns characterized as assault weapons to 21. The licensing bill, SB 1657, has been kicking around Springfield for over a year and has been a hot topic item among Second Amendment advocates in the state As for gun control groups, they feel the proposed $1,000 5-year state permitting process for already federally licensed gun dealers will help stop illegal guns from making it to the streets. Now, how is that going to stop illegal? I mean,
what they were talking about is, I think Dana said this, I can't remember, but I think they're going to have recorded video of every inch of their shop, and they're going to have it like in the cloud for at least like 6 months.
I got a news flash that the FFLs aren't the people bringing in guns from other states illegally and not reporting them or keeping it. That's just, I mean, you've got gangland shootings. This is all about drugs. Gun control, if there's proof that gun control doesn't work, it's Chicago, but South Chicago. Quote,
they've been saying for years that people are bringing them in from right across the border in Indiana or Wisconsin, I guess, because there's two borders real close. They're not. They're stolen. They're not coming in from other states. They're stolen from within the Chicago city limits.
They always make that thing, and they always say that about Massachusetts.
But how does making somebody with a gun shop and an FFL license pay an extra $1,000 every 5 years help in any way?
And plus, have all sorts of money to get all sorts of camera equipment. Somebody said it. Somebody said it had to be 1080p. It couldn't just be like 720. Including the bathrooms, whoever was.
Why not make it 4K only? 4K only.
Somebody said the bathrooms had to have film in it too, which seems like even insane. But I don't know how they're gonna pull that off.
Yeah, if I had a camera in the bathroom in my old recording studio, I think I would get a protest from a lot of the girls used to work with. Quote, let me read the last part of this article. Quote, the illegal trafficking of firearms in Illinois causes too many communities to experience heartache and pain, said former U.S. Rep. Gabby Giffords, who is calling on Rauner to sign the bill. Quote, today elected officials on both sides of the aisle had the courage to step up and act. More like they were too cowardly to tell them to go stuff it. I mean...
It sounds more like it's a byproduct of the drug war and has nothing to do with the guns.
Right. I mean, people, the drug gangs there fight over control of the street corners because by controlling the drug sales on a street corner, that means a certain amount of millions of dollars every year. So that's something money is something people will fight and die for. At least drug gangs will fight for drug money. So. I don't know.
Well, when you pass prohibition, you create black markets. Oh shit!
Well, and all they have to do is drive it across, or carry it, have it carried across the border with no border. Well, I mean that's the whole thing about the wall is to dealing with the drug gangs, but bringing up black tar from Mexico.
I mean, is a wall going to really stop them? Some of these guys who have like submarines, semi-submersibles and stuff.
Well, it'd be hard to take a submarine under a wall or over it.
Well, I'm talking about the ocean. And go around.
Well, we just build the wall underwater. We do have a Navy, but I mean, here's my chance to insult the Coast Guard. Were you having a problem with that guy in Gun Channels whose mom who's in the Coast Guard or something?
Of course.
Okay. Well, the Coast Guard, basically, they're just a bunch of pussies anyway. So, I mean, it's not like they're ever going to be. I mean, why would you sign up for the military if you're never going to actually be? You're never going to actually go into battle. You're not going to be asked to charge a pillbox, go up a hill, or hit the beach under fire or something. I mean, Coast Guard, they go.
A 240 Bravo. Yeah, you get.
You get to go around and if some guy isn't trying to smuggle some drugs in a fast boat, then you get to shoot him up
or something. But yeah, it's not the Bravo. I don't think. I think they use like the Lima or some crap. But I mean, I guess you could get to rebuild engines, maybe get your captain's license. So it's like I know somebody who did that. He went into the Coast Guard, got his captain's license, then got out and then started driving boats. So it's like people.
So you're upset at Brandon's mom, right? You're upset at Brandon's mom. Is that it?
Well, no, I'm not. I mean, I'm not upset, but she called me a racist bigot for no reason. I don't even know. I guess what I was upset about was they were just kind of like creeping on my channel and just being assholes. So they got blocked. I'm not gonna deal with that crap.
Okay. Let's see.
Yeah, Annette's Firearms channel. His mom or some other people he knows have been like creeping around people that are subbed to him and somebody else. And if you're subbed to him, just unsub to him if you don't want people showing up on your channel and writing crazy things on your videos and bringing you into like a family feud or some crap. So it's just a word of advice.
Well, I think that everybody on the internet is talking about is Stormy Daniels. I mean, I was watching Fox News earlier, and they had a picture of her when she was very young, I guess, and I was like, wow. She was pretty good looking.
Daniels is.
She's a porn star that had some relationship with Trump, I guess.
Oh yes, another.
Well, I mean, but she was pretty awesome looking, from what I could tell when she was young. Okay, Patrick, I'm trying to find an about. There's no about on your. You don't have a YouTube channel, I think, or if you do, I'm trying to find the about button so I can send you a link, but. You're gonna have to post your email so I can send you a link, Patrick. I can't figure out how to do it from your YouTube page. There's no like about section, so I can't hit the I can't message you on YouTube. All right, Oklahoma. I emailed you a link. I know that. Hey, I see you out there. 70. Oh, yeah, if you are under 21, you have 90 days to transfer it or give it away. That's gun confiscation. Yeah, forcing issue people under 21 to give up their firearms that they've already bought. That does seem very tyrannical. Yeah, I think that part of it is that the banking system is kind of collapsing. And that basically the deal is that politicians don't want their subjects, let me just say tyrants don't want their subjects to be armed, especially if the entire banking system is about to collapse. And there's just a lot of chaos going down, and it's hard to predict. The only quote that I could really think of is from Hamlet that makes any sense to me, which is the quote from Hamlet is when sorrows come, they come not single spies but in battalions. So when everything goes wrong, they aren't going to want like people to have guns because they can't control them if they have guns. So yeah, it's tyrannical. It's kind of tyranny, and the more in depth the states get, the more broke they become, the more. Okay, Oklahoma. The more tyrannical they are, the more problems that the government has, the less they're going to want just regular people to have firearms because they can't. It'll be harder for them to screw you over and seize anything of value and come into your home. And I watched a pretty good video. Haas USMC's channel had a pretty good video. It's several years old though. About if you wait until like the government goon squad is at your door, you've waited too long. You sent and because he has Haas UMC has a video on that. You can't. When you have a fire base, you send out patrols and you defend way outside your perimeter. You don't like wait till the bad guys walk right up to you and they're at the fence line. So, but anyway, Patrick says I've sent you an email in the chat box in the lower left-hand corner of gun channels. Okay, if I can find my way back to gun channels. Let's see. Let me refresh the gun channels page.
I guess it's going to be hard to gauge that in certain states like this. You know, there's quite a few people in this state, you know, politicians who really wish nobody owned any guns, but they're going to try to take them very slowly and very incrementally. So that way it doesn't seem like there's a big rush to get out there and tell them, no, we're not going to comply with this. So that's one thing that, you know, you got to watch and see and, you know, be active. And so I try to tell people who are gun owners, you know, just because you know whatever they pass is probably going to pass anyways, and you ain't going to have much of a say. You got to at least know what's going on.
Yeah, it helps to keep your ears open and your radar up so they can't just sneak under your radar, and you can take count of whether you just cache stuff in locations other than your primary residence. So, I mean, like if the police come and all I have here is like my 380 Ruger LC 380, it's like I could care less about my Ruger LC 380. Here's my gun, take my Ruger LC 380, but everything else is cached somewhere in the jungle, then that would be, you know, I'd be like, okay, have fun, guys. But they probably take your food, your medical supplies, and everything else if it was that bad, and tell you to report. You report to the FEMA camp. But
oh yeah, they're not going to be very nice.
So I'm hoping to get out of the condo in the center of town, but we'll see what happens with that. Everybody's got their, like I said, you can't prep for this kind of stuff all at once. You've got to do it one thing at a time, one day at a time. And don't do everything at once because you can't. You don't have. Nobody has that much money. At least nobody I know has that much money. Patrick, I'm about to send you a link in the gun channels PMs. 1 second. Copy. If I get back to gun channels.
Yeah, I've been talking to my fiance. We want to move somewhere a little warmer, but yeah, you know, I keep like dropping hints like that. Yeah, I don't really want to live in in a city. You know,
well, yeah, my main problem with buying a place up on the volcano is all the volcanoes that have been exploding on the Pacific Ring of Fire. Hawaii isn't along the Ring of Fire, but I mean, we do have an erupting volcano that's been erupting since 1985, I believe. Kilauea has been erupting steadily, like a low-grade eruption since 1985, but it's not exploding like all the other volcanoes the one that I played earlier in the day in Japan, Mount Kirishima, and
you might have to get a welder and slowly build a volcano shelter.
A volcano shelter.
You have to get some adamantium.
There's no way. There's no survivable shelter that I know of that can survive a 9,000 degree blast of
some adamantium
pyroclastic 9,000 degree pyroclastic expulsion. You're just dead.
Adamantium won't survive that. The stuff that Wolverine's made.
No, the adamantium will survive, but the temperature might still get too hot inside of the adamantium chamber. The heat won't destroy it, but you can get heat inside of it.
Yeah, he'll cook like a lobster in there.
Do you remember when the Human Torch fried Ultron when he went Nova Flame? He didn't damage anything on the inside. He fried stuff on the inside of Ultron.
Of course, a nuclear weapon has goes up to 1,000,000 degrees, but a volcano is like 9,000 degrees or something. So it's still too much for a human, obviously. But I think the main thing I have, the only thing volcanic survival gear I have is my gas mask. So if it was just a question of filtering out gas for a little while, filtering out particles for a little while, I could just shut all the doors and put on my gas mask and hope the dust subsided. But in Pompeii, when that volcano exploded, I mean, the whole city was buried under, like, I don't know how many feet of ash. I mean, there's no way to survive something. There's some events that there's no way to survive. but I think most people think about surviving the events that are survivable.
I heard there was a study that some scientists did in Brazil, and they figured out that they needed some sort of a special formula to survive a zombie apocalypse. And they figured out that you needed like 64 military personnel for each civilian. And there's only one country in the world that has above that number. It's marginally above that number. Maybe it was 67, whatever it was. They're like 0.15% above that. No, not percent. 0.15 above that number. It's North Korea.
Well, I think the problem that North Korea has is there's no food there to feed anybody, and they don't need the zombie apocalypse to be the last of their problems. I mean, they're just too weak from starvation to do anything.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it was just, I thought it was a funny, maybe I'll see if I can get I'll post it in the comments. I'll see if I can find it after this video renders.
All right. So Patrick, I think I posted it, the link. Hopefully you got it.
Who's paying scientists in Brazil to freaking figure this out? That's what I want to know.
Oh, who knows? There's probably the UN is paying scientists in Brazil. They spend all kinds of money on climate change and stuff like that. I hope that's the right link that I posted there for Patrick, but I think it is. Anyway, back to the external preps.
Yeah, but for me, getting a house, a little bit warmer of a climate away from, major cities would be nice. I could actually have some area to actually start prepping more.
Yeah.
I don't even have a storage unit right now. I don't even have storage in the basement of this house. So, like, I got nothing. I got no space.
Well, you have to do what you can with what you got, and then eventually, move into like a better place with more space. And I'm really looking for a place where I could start a garden. That'll just be fun. Maybe plant a few fruit trees and Oklahoma says he has a mic issue and his internet isn't working too well. So at least he's out there.
Yeah. I mean, I am working at doing different preps here and there, but
Well, if you want to see a small house it's too small, really, I think, but it's a cool little cabin that I was looking at. I screen shared it. If you're home, I could screen share it again.
Yeah, please.
Jane, if you can afford $210,000, you could move right up to the edge of the forest in Hawaii in this little place. It's too small. It's nearby this other house that I'm going to look at, but it's bigger and actually has a septic instead of a cesspool. But so I'm going to show this one because I'm not buying it. If I was buying it, I wouldn't show it. But here's one in Hawaii. You see it?
Yep.
All right. So it's a little cabin. It's done really nice, but it's small. It's only $210,000, and storage in the bedroom closet. It's got a fireplace and looks like, I don't know if that's slate that it's sitting on, but it's basically pretty small though. It's the only real drawback, but it's done up nice. And it's like a little two bedroom cabin with a tool shed and a patio deck. It's got catchment water. It doesn't have a very big tank either.
How much land is it?
Well, I'll show you where it's at the very dead end, so it backs up to the forest reserve. I'll post a link in the internal if you're really interested. But there's a tool shed out back. There it is. It's right at the dead end. Look at your backyard. There's nothing back there, all the way to the ocean. Like you've got, and you couldn't make it to the ocean because there's a active volcano in between you and the ocean. But it's like, I'll go down here. It's right here at the back of the subdivision, the Mauna Loa Estates, right near the volcano. So there's Kilauea, and this red dot here is the house. I'm not going to buy this place because it's too small, and I don't want to have to deal with upgrading the cesspool to a septic system. Although it definitely feels when I'm looking for homes here. I'm going to hit on Google so you can see it really quick on the map.
Hey, Patrick.
Hey, how's it going?
Hey, Patrick.
Sorry, late.
That's okay. Gun
Trying
channels
to
has
figure
been.
Oh yeah, I've been trying to figure that out. It's like Jesus.
Yeah, I don't think Jesus could help gun channels. It's the software problem. But so,
right.
But so here's the house. It's this red thing right here. It's all the way at the back of the subdivision. If you can see it, this is Google Maps. And I'll go onto the street view so you can get a look at from the street. Obviously, the Google doesn't update this stuff very often, but your backyard is basically thousands and thousands of acres of rainforest, volcanic rainforest. So let me get 3D view, spin around. There's the street. There's the house. There's the dead end of the road into the jungle, and get a view from right here. This is another dead end. So it's right at the very back of the subdivision, which is, if you're a prepper, it's like awesome because nothing will back here will ever be developed. So it's like, and it's only $210,000. The hard part is actually finding a job in Hawaii because it's not that easy because the government is so anti-business here. It's ridiculous. But there's a lot of nice restaurants and stuff here at Volcano. And
Well, they haven't started regulating cow farts yet, so.
well,
I thought they did that back in the
no, California's doing that. We had something on that. You have to go back and see it. I had a link. Basically, California is passed. Jerry Brown signed a law demanding methane processors on cows or something. So,
Yeah, but didn't Reagan want to do that or something like that?
well, only Jerry Brown would be stupid. I don't know what Reagan thought about doing, but I know he didn't do it. So
I remember my parents talking about that when I was young.
So yeah, basically that's this little area up here, Mauna Loa. It's all the way at the back of the subdivision. If you're interested, there I can send you. They'll put the link in the internal. But it's a cool little house. It's too small for me, so that's why I showed it on the live stream. But you could do a lot of prepping here. The water tanks, I don't think it's big enough, but you can always upgrade stuff. If you've got the money. The taxes are pretty low, but 598 square feet is awful small for me. The lot size is 11,482 square feet, but you've got like an infinite amount of jungle in back of you to do whatever you want. So, but that's a cool place. I'm not interested in this one because it's too small, but if you live outdoors a lot, then like doing outdoor stuff, and you get by on a small cabin like that.
You want to make an appointment with Misty?
Misty.
Hey, Misty.
I mean, I'll put this in the internal if you're interested in moving to Hawaii. I need some gun guys in Hawaii besides just me. So yeah, I had to actually stop. I'm switching coffee brands because the coffee brand I usually drink, I met the owner and he's supporting I mean, there are no pro-gun politicians in Hawaii, but he's supporting an anti-gun politician. So I have to find a different coffee brand. Not that I don't like the coffee. It's that I don't like the politician he's promoting for lieutenant governor. So definitely a gun grabber. So I have to switch coffee brands. So kind of sucks. But yeah, no more Hualalai coffee for me.
About Black Rifle coffee.
Well, that's a pro-Second Amendment coffee. I just don't know if there's any pro-Second Amendment coffees in California. I mean, in Hawaii. Aloha Living. Okay, put the link in the internal if you want to snap up that place for $210,000. I'll welcome you in. I'll give you a free box of ammo when you move in. That's a housewarming present. But yeah, it's like I think he's supporting this politician because for farming agriculture issues, he wants to try and get something done about the government helping with the coffee borer beetle, which is like a beetle that eats coffee trees or something, or coffee leaves on the trees or whatever it does. It's if you have a coffee farm, you don't want this invasive beetle coming and eating all your trees. But and the government is pretty incompetent. So, but the bottom line is he's supporting this gun grabbing politician for lieutenant governor. So I'm not going to be drinking that coffee anymore. And I used to drink it all the time. It's pretty good. So I guess I'm going to have to do more research on getting just as good of a brand. And it's kind of hit or miss. You have to know your farms. There's a lot of different individual coffee brands, but it changes. The quality changes from year to year. So you have to keep up to date. And if you find the right coffee, I mean, farm at the right year, you can get some pretty amazing coffee. But it changes every year because the soil, the water, rainfall changes, and it just a lot of different things can affect how good the coffee crop is in any particular year on any particular farm. So, and yeah, if you have a good roaster, it helps. But anyway, so Patrick, what state did you live in?
Well, I don't know if you guys can hear me, but I'm in Texas.
Oh, Texas. Yeah. What happened? I heard about that thing in Austin. There was somebody was dropping off bombs and packages in front of people's homes.
Yeah, that's all I pretty much heard about is there's been the last few days somebody's been doing that, putting them in their mailboxes and stuff, and I just actually heard about it as soon as I got home today. And I was like, what? That is crazy. So,
yeah, that's not the type of thing that usually happens in Texas.
No, but it's also they have that South by Southwest independent film festival going on down there, getting ready to start up.
What does that have to do with blowing up, setting off bombs? I mean, a film festival is people trying to sell films, not trying to blow shit up.
Right. But I have no idea why or how. I mean, they're just telling everybody to, watch out, watch what you're doing. If that's not a package you ordered, don't open it. Just leave it there. Call the cops. And I was just like, holy crap, that's just crazy.
Yeah, I don't think it would have anything to do with a film festival because, I mean, a film festival is just very rich producers trying to sell their films that they paid several $1 million and a bunch of film buyers who are probably trying to sell it in South America so they're looking for specific content, and so it's just a business event, really. It's
Right. Well, but Austin's kind of a weird city, and that's part of the city's slogan is "Keep Austin Weird." A lot of, yeah, really. I mean, I'm not kidding you. They got very strange music. I mean, well, not strange. I mean, they've got a lot of hippie type stuff always going on there.
well, hippies don't set off Semtex.
No, but it's also the biggest liberal city in the entire state. Austin, Dallas, Houston, San Antonio, is where all the liberals live and hang out. So
it looked to be like the whole alphabet soup of government was down there, the FBI, the ATF, and all the police and everything. So hope they figure it out.
Oh, yeah.
Because so far, it didn't sound like they had any leads at all.
Yeah, I caught just a little bit of it when I got home because I had to then go out and start cooking dinner. But yeah, I was just like, holy crap! I hope they don't start bringing that stuff up here. I'm not gonna open the mail at all.
Well,
I don't think because our mailbox is. My mailbox is right in front of my house, it's and that's, it's like, oh no.
Yeah, but it hasn't been delivered by mail. It's just packages that have been delivered like on people's doorsteps, or maybe we put in the mailbox, but it hasn't been delivered by the post service.
Right. And I just heard that, the cop was given the interview said that, if it's a package or something you got that's in your mailbox, don't touch it. Don't go near it, stay away from it and call us. But yeah, I didn't know about it until this evening. I was just like, holy crap, that's crazy. Please don't happen near me.
Yeah.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you fine the whole time.
Okay. Yeah, well, I got this new phone. My phone crashed the other day. It burned up and, gave up the ghost, and I had to get a new one. And, of course, getting the phone. Oh, crud, my son came out here.
I use a screwdriver to get this head out. I use a screwdriver to get this head out.
All right, hold on.
Give him a screwdriver.
Yeah, no kidding. It's this little transformer toy. All right. Go inside. They're welcome. Yeah, I had to get a new phone. It fried, and of course, to get a new phone, I had to jump through about 1 million hoops, and you have to get $400 worth of accessories.
$400 worth of accessories inside a 10-year contract, something like that.
Yeah. I mean, it was. I had to get. I mean, it was stupid. I was like, God, this is just a phone.
I've been waiting for the organic screens to come out, because as soon as they do that, every $1,000 phone right now will be worth like $50 as soon as they come out with the new organic screens. But they've been talking about that for a while, and they haven't done it yet. So
that's what I was wanting to ask, because I said, "Has this got some special screen and everything?" And the guy goes, "Gorilla Glass." I go, "Well, I think that's it." But you're talking about what I. You're talking about what I was thinking of.
Yeah, organic screens. Basically, there's a company in Japan that has the technology, and I don't know, Apple was considering buying this company because Apple has enough money to buy like anything pretty much. But I think they hit a new high today, the stock. The NASDAQ went up and the Dow went down. It's basically, there's this company in Japan that is making this new kind of organic screen, but they haven't finalized the design, and so they can't mass produce them yet. And if Apple is going to incorporate organic screens into a phone, they're going to have to be able to make hundreds of millions of them or something, so they can put them in all their phones. But when the first organic screen phone comes out, then all your LCD phones will be worth like 5% of what they were the day before that happened. So I've been waiting, but and I still got my Samsung Galaxy 3 with this Otter thing that
Oh yeah,
falling apart.
OtterBox.
It doesn't even stay together.
Your Samsung Galaxy S3 that will not receive text messages from a Galaxy S8.
Well, I can't
That's
help
what
it
I
if
have,
all
Squid.
I see is empty. But you want me to show you your empty boxes, dude? It's an empty yellow box.
I got the Galaxy S8 Squib.
Guys with the latest phone.
No, it's the 9, but I didn't want to spend $40 extra on my bill to have the phone.
See,
I got the S.
See that empty yellow box there, Squib? It says Squib, empty yellow box.
Yeah, you know what that means?
What?
That means that your phone is screwed up because it's not on my end. I got the S8 Plus middle of the year last year because it was the bigger phone. I wanted a bigger screen. And then we just got my wife the S8. And then less than a week later, get an email from Verizon going, how would you like to upgrade to the new S9? I'm like, are you kidding me? Another week and we would have had her the newest one. But our phones are identical as far as processor and all the specs, except mine's just a little bit bigger because I got bigger fingers and whatnot.
Well,
yeah, mine just they wanted to see. I got Sprint, and it was
me too.
Well, we leased the phone, so they add the phone cost onto your bill each month, like jerks. And the LG that I had, or the newest version of the LG, it was like $40 a month. And then he said, "Well, do you want an iPhone?" I said, "No, I hate Apple. I don't want anything Apple. I don't have anything Apple." And
well, the good thing
the
about
other Samsung.
The good thing about the S3 is that you can actually just take the battery out if you don't want to be tracked.
Yeah, you can't do that with the new phones. My wife had an S4 Mini, and she wanted to hold on to it. She really did. She liked how small it was. She liked you could take the battery out, things like that. But it was too old, just too many issues. And she did not like her S8 at first. She said, this is just way too big. Probably about a week into it, she's like, okay, I'm okay with it. So,
like I said, I'm waiting for the organic screen, so they come out with an organic screen.
I had to literally, he told me the only way, he goes, well, we can save you money. I go, okay. Well, do you want to change your phone number? No. Do you want to enroll in auto pay? No. I go, well, then you're going to have to get $400 in accessories. Then it's going to lower your phone bill. Then you're going to pay for those accessories for 12 months, come off, and then your phone bill is going to be lower. So in 12 months, my phone bill will be lower.
Have you seen Have you seen that thing from Futurama?
$400 in accessories.
Have you ever seen the video from Futurama about shut up and take my money with the phones?
No, I haven't seen that, but I can imagine it.
Yeah, it's basically he runs up to the phone counter and says, "Do you have any left?" And the guy behind the counter says, "We may have one." And there's actually like 10,000 behind the counter, and he says, "Well, let me tell you about the problem with this phone is it has pretty bad reception and the battery doesn't take a charge." And he said, "Shut up and take my money." So people just want a new phone. Phone. And I'm not going to buy a new phone, but just because like some of Squib's text messages are empty yellow boxes. I don't get empty yellow boxes from anybody else.
Well, I had to get virtual reality. I had to get these stupid earbuds.
Virtual reality?
Yeah, it's this thing with plugging your phone reality headset. And then you can control it, watch movies and everything. And you're looking to the left in the world. And you look to the right, you're looking to the right. You look up and down, and that's what it is. And I'm like, this crap.
Oh, yeah. Okay, that's one of the overpriced accessories. Yeah, that's one of the overpriced accessories they made you buy.
Well, I guess if you're into Call of Duty or some virtual reality games like that, maybe it would come in handy, but I don't.
HVS, you put on these goggles and you attach your phone to the goggles, and the screen on your phone becomes the TV screen. And you're standing in a building looking out the window, and suddenly the glass breaks and you're falling and you jump because it looks so real. You really think you're falling. It's creepy.
Well, I don't want to feel like I'm falling if I'm not.
It's so three-dimensional, you actually think you're falling there for a second. You realize, okay, no, I'm not falling. It's just because it totally encapsulates your face,
Yeah,
your eyes.
I saw The Matrix. I get it.
Yeah, I guess that's whatever. I didn't. So
You never saw The Matrix, dude. You never saw the thing with the red. You can take the blue pill or take the red pill.
Nah. It's one of those. Why don't I just watch all the Matrix movies back to back to back one weekend?
Just watch the first one.
Only watch the first one.
Yeah, just watch the first one.
That bad, huh?
The other ones.
I don't know about the other ones, but the first one has the scene with the red pill and the blue pill, and it's a pretty good film, I thought. I mean, if you like the kind of thing,
this
but
is your last chance. After this, there's no
It looked to me like a film. It was another one of those films with really great special effects, but the film sucks. So if you just want to watch something with special effects,
it's not just special effects; it's the whole concept of being plugged into a system that's controlling everything, and you not realizing it, and you not even having the perception of that you're being completely controlled by a false reality.
A computer keeps a bunch of human beings in a cave because their body heat generates enough electricity to run the computer. Seriously? That's your plot?
It's done very well. It's a great.
You realize that a million human beings together couldn't generate enough heat to generate enough electricity.
You're talking about science theory in a science fiction movie. Theory doesn't matter.
I think a lightsaber's more believable.
It's what's believable is that people's perception of reality, as you perceive it, is completely not real. That is very believable, and that's the plot. That's the plot of the movie, not the ins and outs of the science. What the body temperature is. It's truly that people's perception of reality is not real, and that is very true.
Okay.
And very believable.
Mr. Sanderson.
Look, you can get the damn DVD at Walmart for like $5.
Mr. Sanderson.
Anderson.
Mr. Anderson.
Talking about Neo?
It's like deja vu.
Yes.
Oh, that's a sign. That means there's something wrong.
It sounds like you have seen the movie.
No. I saw a parody of The Matrix that was kind of funny. But all my friends who saw The Matrix, I showed them the parody and they said it was stupid. But I thought it was kind of like, okay, this is like Cliff Notes Theater. I don't need to go watch this stupid movie. This parody does enough.
I want to see this
Also,
parody.
Neo is an anagram.
Yes.
Well, and Fishburne's character was that Fishburne's who played, or somebody else that played Morpheus?
Lawrence
Fishburne. Yep.
I remember when I saw an interview where the interviewer got the actor wrong. He thought Samuel Jackson played Morpheus, and so he asked him how it was. So I wanted to talk about The Matrix, and Samuel Jackson got so pissed off.
I think the video.
All of us black actors look alike to you, or something. It was like off of the rails. You can find that on YouTube if you want.
He gave his talk, right?
I think the one I saw was called.
Go ahead, Squib.
No, Patrick was saying something, but I hear a beeping noise.
Yeah, that's my damn reload. I gotta get that damn thing turned off one of these days.
It's your damn what?
Powder dispenser.
Powder dispenser. Okay.
Oh, all right. Yeah, I was boiling eggs this morning on the early watch, and I had the timer set, and I'm talking, and the stupid ass timer happened to go off, and it's one of those ones that just won't stop until you come by and silence it. Yeah. No, I think the video I saw is called The Matrix Reloaded. I think that's what it was called. It's a
That's
short.
actually the second movie.
All right, well, maybe it's called The Matrix something. I can't remember. It's a short little fan film by a company that they make commercials. They're down in Louisiana. They make commercials, and they use their stuff to do parodies. And they did a parody of The Matrix, and they did a parody of Star Wars, and I don't know. It's funny. Whatever. Moving on.
Yeah. If you can get the DVD for $5 at Walmart, I would recommend you watch it.
Nobody watches DVDs anymore.
I do.
I do.
I watched the
I don't
DVD.
get everything on Vudu and Netflix.
Yeah, I watched. I have a John Wayne DVD collection. I've got. I watched The Man Who Shot Liberty Valance over the weekend. I really love that film.
Got every Marine's favorite film on DVD. Heartbreak Ridge, Stitch Jones.
Yeah,
Stitch Jones, the Ayatollah of rock and roll, the Earl of Funk, the Duke of Cool.
Well, there's this one scene, I talked about it once in The Man Who Shot Liberty Valance, where John Wayne walks up to, if you want to know how to intimidate someone, he walks up to Lee Marvin and basically orders him to pick up the stake that fell to the ground. And they're both he's waiting. Basically, John Wayne isn't that good of an actor, but he knows how to, that's exactly how you walk up to somebody, and the way John Wayne did that one scene. It's the showdown. The scene is called Showdown at Peter's Place, which is like the hash house everybody goes to eat, and he gets into a confrontation when the Liberty Valance character, Lee Marvison's character, Liberty Valance, trips Jimmy Stewart's character, and who was bringing a steak to John Wayne's character, Tom Donovan. And so John Wayne walks right up to Liberty Valance and says, "Pick up the steak." And then he just looks up and says, "You, Liberty, you pick up the steak." And he doesn't have to say, "I'm going to shoot you if you don't," because you could just, it's written all over his face. But that's exactly how you walk right up to somebody like you're 3 feet away. And if you get into a gunfight with somebody who's standing 3 feet away from you, you're going to get hurt no matter what happens. So somebody's going to get killed or severely wounded. So that's pretty much how you do it.
I liked it in the Alamo when he was talking to all the Tennessee volunteers and how he
the fake
letter from Santa Ana. And he says, no, it was me. No, Davey. Davey, we're going to go get it.
I didn't write that letter.
I didn't write that letter. I'm trying to tell you. They're all, well, that's just nice. They came down and got a fight for us. I was like, Jesus.
Well, you can do that kind of a thing in a movie. But the thing that was real was I thought that the way that the showdown at Peter's Place and The Man Who Shot Liberty Valance, that was a very real kind of a showdown, because that's exactly how you do it. And it's not like in every other Western movie where one guy is standing at the end of one street and the other guy is standing at the other end of the street, and then they shoot it out with handguns from 100 yards away or something. It's like, that doesn't happen.
I don't know.
They might try and shoot somebody. There was a great, what was that line on I like that Deep Space Nine character, Garrick, Elam Garrick, the Cardassian Taylor spy, who says, "Oh yeah." He had this one line that says, "You who?" This Cardassian Taylor called Garrick.
I must have missed that episode.
Well, there's this one episode. Let me tell you what he said. The doctor says, "You wouldn't actually shoot somebody in the back, would you?" And the Cardassian guy says, "Isn't that the safest way to do it?" So that's actually, I think that's how most Western shootouts would actually happen, is somebody would sneak up and shoot somebody else in the back, because that is the safest way to do it. But the way John did it, if you're just trying to intimidate somebody, is you walk up to them and they're standing 3 feet away. And if you're standing 3 feet away and you get into a gunfight, somebody's going to get killed. And probably both people are going to get killed. or severely wounded, and so they're going to be intimidated.
I don't know if I would. I don't know if I'd want to get into a gunfight with John Wayne. He'd probably win.
You wouldn't want to get into a gunfight with anybody standing 3 feet away from you.
Well, yeah.
And that's why that scene worked so well. And John Wayne did it just great. And he wasn't acting. He's not that good of an actor. I think he was like, I'm going to shoot you, Lee Marvin.
He never acted. He always played himself.
Yeah, but in this scene, he was just. It was a very what was the way that the director directed, John Ford, was he created. It's not that people didn't know the script or what was going to happen, although a lot of people didn't know. Not all the characters. He would change the script all the time and take out parts of the script and throw out pages of the script, and nobody knew what was going to happen in each scene that they were shooting. They really didn't know what was going to happen, so anything could happen. Nobody knew. It wasn't like that was John Ford's particular way of keeping everybody on edge. And I'm going to take out these 10 pages of dialogue, and so it was a lot more creative and stuff like that. Really, that was why part of all those John Ford movies were so good. It was this planned technique of creating absolute chaos on the set at all times. Sustained chaos and unpredictability. But that's what you get if you're into films. Notice all those little details. But anyway, I'm gonna check the external chat. Does anybody have any other gun control stuff or anything else they need to talk about or want to get out or rant about? Come on, Squib. I know you want to rant about something.
Michigan weather sucks.
Rip David Hogg, another asshole, did this morning.
That kid just.
I can tell he just rubs you the wrong way. He does me too. So. Yeah.
I'm sorry, but I've dealt with smart-ass teenagers before. I was a smart-ass teenager before, but I never went on national TV and lied, man. National frickin' TV and told a bold-faced lie.
Yeah.
He's setting himself up for politics in the future, and he's already got that part down pat.
Oh, yeah.
If you lie on TV, people will believe you, because people believe the first thing they hear. And people, all this stuff that we've done lately about the whole, we need to sit down and have a conversation. No, we don't. And for the people that, all you got to do is just give them the facts. Why? Do you think they're going to believe them? Do you think they're actually going to go back and take some time and actually research and find out if what you told them was true? No, they're not. Lately, people on our side have been doing all this. We need to play nice stuff. I've tried playing nice before, and I've even had people tell me that, no, don't play nice because all they're going to do is take more. And they were right. You play nice, all they do is take more. And it just
we're done. We're done taking Patrick Swayze's advice.
Patrick Swayze's advice.
Yes. Yeah, we're be nice. Just be nice until it's to not be nice.
Oh, I was thinking.
Sorry.
Roadhouse. That's Roadhouse.
Fear causes hesitation, and when you hesitate, your greatest fears come true. So.
Yes, well, basically, Patrick was talking about the line from Roadhouse where he says to be nice until it's time to not be nice. And somebody asks, well, how do we know when it's time to not be nice? You won't know until I'll tell you when it's time to not be nice.
Yeah.
My thing is, if an anti-gunner wants to really sit down and really have a conversation, wants to sit down with me and have a conversation, and the conversation is because we both agree that kids are dying and that needs to stop. So what are we going to do? I'm going to start the conversation with, I don't want to hear one thing about any more gun control. Talk about something other than gun control, because gun control will not fix the problem. Let's talk about the things we can do to fix the problem. And then we go into the whole giving the staff the option and fortifying the schools and blah, 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 blah. But we all know that none of these laws that they're proposing is going to stop this. Even the ideas that we have on our side about giving the staff the option to be armed or fortifying the schools will not stop somebody if they wanted to pull a truck in front of the school and blow it up. They wouldn't stop somebody who maybe was a staff member who got past all the security and wanted to do something. Like that guy who tried to, the superintendent of the school in Bath, Michigan, who tried to blow up the school with the students in it. You know, it's not 100% foolproof. But if we're looking to say we want to stop somebody with a firearm or firearms from entering a school building and slaughtering these kids, okay, there are some things that we can do, and none of it involves gun control. And you can't get them to sit down and say, okay, I'm willing to listen to what you've got to say, and I'm not going to propose any gun control. No, they won't do it. So, I mean, why play nice?
No, they won't.
I mean, why?
You know, I mean, I've told friends of mine that are, you know, that are not really anti-gun, but they don't own any, and they've shot guns before, but they don't own them, and they're like, well, why do you really want this? And another friend and I, he was in the Army, and they go, well, it's because it's our government right, but, you know, they don't want to hear any of that. They don't want to hear anything. They don't want to do their own research, even when you be polite to them and you try to have a civil conversation. You do talk about logic and you do give facts and everything. They don't go back and ever look anything up. They don't ever go, I mean, most of them don't. And they just was right. They don't care, and they're not going to care.
They don't. I mean, okay, when all these people are going, well, we need to explain to them that we have them in case the government ever takes over. As long as we have them, the government won't take over. Well, yeah, that's the primary basis of the Second Amendment. As soon as you say that, they go, you're crazy. You think the government's going to take over? Or when you go, if you don't have the right...
Founding fathers did.
We're right. I understand that. And you know that.
Yeah,
I know that. We all in this. But what I'm saying is the anti-gunner suddenly thinks you're some sort of nut job.
They think you're a
wants
quack.
to go to. They think you actually want to march up to the Capitol building and slaughter senators. Okay? They don't understand that. And they don't, when you use the whole, well, how would you like it if they took away your First Amendment? The first thing they're going to say is, they would never do that. And then you're never going to convince them otherwise. You're never going to convince them that as long as we have a way to overthrow the government or fight back against the government, they can't take away our other stuff. It's always the first thing historically that has been taken away is the weapons. Okay? They don't want to hear that. So how you get it? Then if you go, well, I hunt with it. Oh, well, what do you need an AR-15 to hunt with? Or then you go, I shoot competitively. I shoot 3-gun. I shoot. So, well, we don't really need that.
That's not a sport.
Why do you need that?
That's not a sport.
Why, yeah, that's not a sport. And then they start throwing in but kids are dying crap. Right? And then if you say, I want it for self-defense, you know, what business do you have with a rifle for self-defense? And why do you need to carry anything more than a 5-shot revolver? And why do you have to hide it? Or why do you have to take it? Are you really that afraid? We don't live in a bad neighborhood, but, you know, and it's just like, you know what? Screw it. I don't need to get
shoot him. Why don't you shoot him in the leg?
Yeah. Why don't you shoot him? The one guy was the anti-gunner I was going around with in the lobby is going, well, what if you just carried your gun without any bullets? Fuck you. Okay. Just because I've carried with no round in the chamber before, and I've carried with a round in the chamber and the safety off before. It's just different times, different things. Like at the Ohio rally on Saturday, they asked everybody if they would not chamber round. They didn't care if you had a full 30-round mag in your AR-15 and you're walking around with it all day long. Just they asked if they didn't want any negligent discharges. They didn't want somebody to accidentally do something and a gun goes off. And I didn't ask anybody, hey, do you got a round in the chamber? But I'm willing to bet that most people did out of respect. You know, and there was no problem, by the way. We had a ton of firepower sitting there at the Capitol building in Columbus, Ohio on Saturday. And nothing happened. Nobody did anything crazy or stupid with their evil weapons. But when you start giving a list of excuses, to anti-gunners, that's what they are. They're excuses. And that's the way they look at them, as excuses. I don't need to explain. It's called the Second Amendment. End of story. I don't need to explain anything to you. Nothing.
Right. Well, I got to the point like where when I get on the local papers' websites, I don't bother to type anything anymore. I just put up pro Second Amendment memes because I know what they're gonna say before they say it, so I just put up memes, and I've got like 1,000 memes in my download folder. So I just put up Second Amendment memes on the local whenever there's an gun grabbing type of letter to the editor or article by the editor. I just post all the pro Second Amendment gun memes I can find on there, because there's no point in talking to these people, and there's just some the people that are just spend all day are just on doing that. I mean, they're just liberal bloggers. They don't want to hear about the facts.
Most of them don't have jobs.
No.
Well,
That would
if they had a job, that would interfere with their welfare check.
Yeah,
Guys,
they just,
I would love it.
Want...
I would love it if we could talk to them. If we could really, really have an open dialogue. If they said, all right, you know what? Right now, everybody's emotional. We're going to put all this gun control on the shelf while everybody calms down. Now, let's sit down and have a conversation, and we won't bring up gun control. We won't talk about gun control. Let's talk about alternatives. Let's hear your ideas. Let's really hear them.
They don't
we're going
have
to
any.
ask you. They're never, ever going to do that. They're never, ever going to say, show me how this works. Take me to a gun range. Do this, do that. They're not going to do it. And when they can't be that open-minded, I understand. I am a kind of person that likes to take the high ground and go, look, I'm setting the example. I'm leading the way. I'm taking the high ground. I've tried taking the freaking high ground with these people. You can't do it. You just can't. I would if I could.
They've taken the blue pill, and they can believe whatever they want to believe.
Well,
they don't want to take the red pill. They just had chosen not to take the red pill.
Look, Hawaii, one of the members of gun channels that's been on a long time and who's popular has recently had a bunch of anti-gunners get into his head, and he's gone anti-gun. And he's taken 2 other members of gun channels that are popular and turning them that way too. And I'm just wondering how long it'll be before more people start turning. And it's like, I don't want any of you guys to start swallowing the freaking Kool-Aid on this stuff. I really don't. But you know what? We're all grown adults. If that's what you choose, you choose to change your mind, choose to change your mind. You know, I don't hate any of these people for changing their mind, but I really think that I don't know. I'm not going to let an anti-gunner get inside my head. I'm sorry.
Oh no, they're freaking loony.
I had a guy accuse me of the only thing in my life is guns. The only thing that is in my life is guns, and I have nothing outside of guns that I do, that I enjoy, that I'm passionate about.
You're also
but you don't know a freaking thing about me, pal. You don't know nothing about me. Guns is not the only thing I do.
Yeah, you like Navy ships?
We're on this thing called gun channels, so we're here to talk about guns and gun rights. You know, sure, it turns into a food chat from time to time. But in general, that's why we're not on motorcycle channels. We're not on truck channels. We're not on hiking channels. We're not on, I don't know, sports channels. We're not on, whatever. We're not on, let's talk about our kids channels. We're not on Divorcees Trade Stories channel. We're not on Plastics channel. We
talk about all that stuff in the after chat or the pre-chat sometimes, but
yeah, that's true. That's true. You know, but it's just like, I get up in the morning. I clean all my guns. I spend all day around all my guns. I'm at the range all day, and then at night, I'm just hanging out with a bunch of gun guys. I don't eat. I don't sleep. I don't have any family. I don't have any friends. I don't have a job, and I don't do anything without a gun on me.
Well, that would be okay. I mean, people get to live their life how they want, I guess.
That's why I went to the 2A rally in Ohio with no firearm. You know, because obviously it's all about guns all the time for me. I mean, jeez. I don't like to really talk about
guys
family. That's my personal life. You know, I mean, what the hell?
I've had guys I work with.
How's that? Was that a good enough rant? Was that okay?
I knew if I told you to rant, you could do it.
I could. Well, Patrick, you helped with the whole, I just wanted to jump on Early Watch for a little bit this morning. I went into work early. I just wanted to jump on for a little bit. I was hearing all this stuff, and it's like, guys, there's more to it than this. Come on now.
He's an actor.
He's not. No, he's not an actor. He's not an actor. And here's the thing. He's not the only kid that attended that school that is going on TV telling lies. And my thing is, how can I have sympathy for your people when you don't keep your house in order? These are your people. These are your people. I don't care if he's just a neighbor kid down the street or some kid that went to school with your dead kid. He's out there pissing on their graves by lying on TV. And for these people, I understand. They want closure. They want answers. What's the easy thing to do? Blame the tool. Don't blame the sheriff. Don't blame the school superintendent. Don't blame the law enforcement, including the FBI. Don't blame anything or anybody other than the frickin' tool. Okay, that's the easy way out. I understand you're grieving. And
they also blame the NRA and NRA members.
But what I'm saying, though, is they want the quick and easy because they want to resolve this now. I want to stop feeling pain now. You're not going to stop feeling pain now. You're going to feel pain the rest of your frickin' life. And if you don't think I don't know what that's like, you don't know me. The people are like, I lost a child. You think I haven't? And I don't even want to get into it. But I know all about pain and lifelong pain. You deal with it. And when you're the man of the family, you don't go and break down. You let your wife do that. You need to be strong for your wife and the rest of your kids. And if you don't have any kids, you got nieces, you got nephews, you got brothers, sisters, mothers, fathers, you got friends, neighbors, co-workers. You have other people in your life. If you just had one kid, and unfortunately that was the one kid you lost, that's a tragedy. And how the hell do you even, but when you don't have that, you put your focus on what you still have. And for the people that aren't getting this from a grief counselor, go to another damn grief counselor. Get your head out of your butt. Life is not fair. Bad things happen to good people all the time. I've had bad shit happen to me a lot. I always got through it. Sometimes I asked for help, and sometimes I did it on my own. And I'm not saying you have to be me, but I know all about this sort of crap. And when you got somebody that's going, I'm going to go blame the tool, and then I'm going to go after all of these citizens in America who had nothing to do with my kid dying, or my neighbor's kid dying, or my friend's kid, or my child's friend dying, or my coworker dying, or something like that. You really need to take a look on the inside at yourself. You really do, and look and see what kind of person you are. You want to blame everybody but the people that need to be blamed. And you want quick closure. It's your nature. It's in all of our nature. We want the pain to stop now. And if there's something you think you can do to make the pain stop, you're going to do it, even if that means you got to lie or you're not going to take the time to understand what really happened. And it sucks. It totally sucks. It sucks for you, for your loss, and it sucks for the people that you're blaming who had nothing to do with it and would never harm your kids or your friend or your coworker or your relative. Would never do it. They would be the kind of people that would rush past those damn cowardly cops and go in there and save your kids. And instead of trying to find something that would stop this, you want to just make more bullshit laws that turn law-abiding citizens into criminals and don't stop it. And I am still pissed off as a parent because they haven't done a fucking thing in my kids' the two schools they go to do anything to stop this shit. Not one thing. My kids have to go to school by law. Then people go, well, then homeschool. All right, pal, pay my freaking bills so my wife can stay home and homeschool. We have to work. Both of us have to work. Not everybody has the luxury of being able to live off of one person's income. I have my family living in a decent house, in a decent neighborhood with decent things. We're not rich, but we're not poor. I am not about to go put ourselves in a bad neighborhood with a bad environment for my kids so that we could live off of one income so my wife can homeschool them. So if the law says my kids have to go to public school and the government pays for that public school, then damn it, they need to protect my children while they're there. End of story. Gun control won't protect them. Is that better?
No, your government won't protect them either.
Yeah,
It
that's
won't
true.
protect you
they ruled,
or
the
anybody.
The Supreme Court ruled that police don't have to protect you.
Well, and it's like the main part that I agree with you is, but when the government passes law like this law that I titled the show about, the multi-burst trigger activators, if you own one of these imaginary triggers with this made-up term that the police department says this is a multi-burst trigger activator, then you just went from never having broken one law in your life, and now you're a felon. Just as soon as the law passes. And you could have bought it legally, and maybe even according to the strict reading of the law, the trigger that you bought doesn't meet. But if the police department says, well, anything with a reset violates this code, even though only an idiot could read it that way, then all of a sudden you get charged with a felony just because you own one of these things and you haven't done anything wrong. So
doing that does nothing to make the public safer. Not kids in school, not people walking at the mall, not anywhere, anything, anybody. They don't get it. The laws don't do anything to stop criminals and crazy people. It doesn't, and they don't want to hear that. They don't want to hear it because it's the truth, and because of the truth, as soon as you start saying it, then they go, "Oh, well, we don't have the money. We don't have the money to do it."
People have been brainwashed. Most of America has been brainwashed. It's just most of the world has been brainwashed. You can't push anyone outside of their brainwashing box without.
I don't feel that I've been
surgery.
Brainwashed. I don't feel like I've been brainwashed by the Second Amendment community. I used to be for gun control. I was a gun guy with military training and believed that we should have right to guns, but I believe that certain people shouldn't have right to certain guns, and that as long as they made laws, that would protect us. And then one day I woke up and said, what the hell? None of it works. And I started realizing. So I understand why these people think some of the stuff they think. I understand how they work to some degree because I used to be on board with them. I did. I got my head out of my ass and realized this doesn't help. If I thought for a second that banning these stupid trigger things would make my kids safe or make walking down the street safer, then I'd be all for it. But it's not going to do a damn thing. I mean, we've been preaching for years. Why don't they just enforce the freaking laws they got, right? I mean, Jared was talking earlier about the laws in Massachusetts that they don't enforce. You know, I mean, it's just it gets your blood boiling because, and then it's like, oh, we need to have a conversation. I can't talk to them. I'll tear their head off.
I can't talk about it to people like that because my blood pressure will go up, and blood that's bad for me. So I just post memes. Your blood pressure goes up. I mean, just look at you. Your blood pressure probably went up 20 points. I mean,
well, I'm warmer. But I mean, the truth is though, it's never gonna freaking go away, and it never is. I tell you what, you know what'd be cool?
What?
If I could get a group of anti-gunners that said we want to have a discussion, we want to sit down and have a talk, and I said, all right, fine, but we don't talk about gun control. They go, no way, no way. All right, fine. 1 full day, 6 hours, plus 2 hours of instruction, 6 hours at the range with me, and you have to shoot multiple firearms. You have to do it, and then we'll talk. Then let's see if they say no. And if they say no then, okay, then you definitely aren't open-minded. I'm sorry. But if you don't want to get safety instruction and instruction on how to operate these things, and then we drive down there, and I pay the whole damn bill, I provide everything, ear protection, eye protection, ammo, rifles, targets, everything. Pay the range fees, everything. And we have you shoot for 6 hours in good weather, and you see all the people that are at the range that day. And you see all the walks of life they come from, and you see how nice they are, and you see they're not all crazy. And then you walk away from there, then let's have a gun discussion. They won't do that either. They won't.
Yeah, everybody goes to their corners and they come out fighting, and just most of the world is brainwashed about everything. I think. And
I would have more sympathy for the victims in Florida if they clean up their own damn house. And if they want to say, I'm not responsible for David Hogg or any of these other people, yes, you are. Yes, you are, because you live down there. When he's out there standing in front of the school talking and the CNN cameras are there and you're in the crowd, why aren't you yelling, a fucking gun didn't kill my kid, a psychopath did, shut up. Nobody's doing it. How can I have sympathy?
I built that
Fix
video.
the problem.
I wrote that video that I last did pretty much to show, for the most part, I was kind of writing it towards one person. And I said, yeah, can you go ahead and watch the video? It's 4 minutes and 28 seconds long. I pretty much made it to show you. And they were like, yeah, I'm not going to watch that video. A lot of people just died from AR-15s. A bunch of kids died. I don't need to watch a video and to have my stomach churn seeing this weapon of war that murdered people. And I was like, nobody died during the making of my video.
Yeah, no kidding.
Nobody has died on one of my live streams.
Yeah, then she cracked the joke like it was funny. You just said my guns are weapons of war that murder people. Like, my guns haven't killed anybody. So,
yeah, the difference between you and that dirtbag in Florida is you value human life. The difference between you and that dirtbag in Florida is you fought for this country, you love this country, you wouldn't try to do harm to this country. The difference between you and that dirtbag in Florida is he probably got that firearm with intent when he got it. I don't think, knowing you, Jared, I don't think you've ever bought a gun thinking, man, one day I could kill somebody with this. I'm sorry, you don't come across that way to me, especially when we, talk off air and stuff and I get to know you better and stuff like that. So, but they want to lump guys like you and me in with this dirtbag. And then you want to have some kid with no life experience who's never even raised kids of his own, going to go on national TV and lie. And then you're going to have all these people go, oh, the children. I got children. Don't tell me. You got children too, Jared. You know all about it.
Yeah, well, like this notion that, oh, we're safer because we're in Massachusetts. It's like, are you fucking serious? Like, so, like, any of these gun laws is going to stop somebody from going nuts and walking into a school? I'm like, are you, like, these people really believe this? Like, they absolutely believe we have an assault weapons ban here. Therefore, we are much safer. It's like the assault weapons ban isn't making it safe at all. It's just that's a notion that is just so insane to me that people have this pride. We are safer. It's like, no, you're not. Stop living in some fucking fantasy world.
Yeah, well, if people watch MSLSD, that's what they believe. I mean,
Jared, your kids aren't old enough to go to public school yet, right?
No, they are.
Oh, they are?
Yeah, one of them's in it now. The other one's going to be in next year.
Okay. I can tell you this. Every time one of these mass murders happens at one of these schools, as long as I've had kids, and especially more so once they started going to public school, it hit home. It hit home. I started thinking about my kids, started worrying about my kids, even telling the kids, don't huddle in the classroom. Because some of the schools they've gone to have had a fire exit in the classroom. You could literally open the door and you're in the teacher's parking lot. I've told them, if they do a lockdown, they say, oh, you kids huddle in the corner, you go out the fire exit. I don't care. Don't worry. I'll take care of the teacher and the principal later. Just watch out for fire trucks when you go out there because I don't want you getting run over trying to run away from this. But our kids, I've told them before, defy that lockdown stuff and get the hell out because that's the safest way. And every time something like this happens, I have a talk with, are you guys okay? Are you scared to go to school tomorrow? Has anybody around your school talked? Do you think there's any copycats? I mean, as a parent, you think about this stuff and you worry about this stuff. And when a member of Gun Channels recently said we never thought it would happen here, and here's somebody that I know, and I mean, not personally, but I've talked to him on air, I mean, whatever, they really hit like a ton of bricks. And I know my schools aren't secure. You can get in there so easy. There's nothing to it. There's nothing to it. So as a parent, I think about this sort of crap. The 2A stuff is all secondary. That has nothing to do with it. It's about.
I mean, I'm not like living in fear, but I mean, we went into another school in Beverly to give some paperwork to sign my son up for next year, and I was like, "Hey, Dee, we got to go to the office," and she's like, "No, we don't." We literally like twice now have walked into that school with her, and we completely avoided going to the office.
And what are they going to do in the office?
Never did anything. They never
they're going to buzz
said anything to us.
You go into the office, they buzz you in, you go into the office, and all you would have to do was pull your handgun out, blast the secretary, stick your hand underneath the counter of her desk, push the button, it'll unlock the door. If that doesn't work, you could shatter the glass for the windows, because they always have glass windows there leading out to the hallway. Or you could take a pry bar and pop the lock on the door. Or if you really want to get creative, you could take a hammer and a flathead screwdriver and actually pound the hinge pins out, the 4 hinge pins out, and the door would just fall right off.
Okay, wait a minute. Criminals are not that smart, and they don't plan that far.
Oh, are you kidding me?
Not the bad guys.
Kidding me?
Not the. No, I'm kidding. I'm not kidding you.
There was no bar. We never even checked in at the office. There's a sign that says you have to check in at the office. They buzzed us in, and then we never even checked into the office. I've done that twice now with her. She refuses.
All I'm saying is criminals are dumb. I'm just going to say that.
So you're saying they're going to go into the office, they're going to shoot the secretary, and then they're going to go, now what do I do? They're not going to reach over and grab the bag.
I'm telling you that criminals are dumb. I'm just telling you, criminals are dumb.
They're dumb, but
they never even checked us into the school. They buzzed us in and watched us walk
and that's
away
just
from
it.
The office twice.
Oh, that, or they have doors propped open all the time. All the time. Yeah, there are ways. There are ways in. You could walk around the outside of the school building in the middle of the school day with a gun and find a way in. Through the back, through the side, whatever.
Yeah, that's what I was mentioning, how my mom got in trouble for just locking one of the 2 gates. And was accused of being a racist because the father couldn't get in. He said, if there was an emergency, I couldn't get in. And so you're obviously doing this because you don't like Hispanic people and you're a racist. Like, all the kids in the school were Hispanic, and she was just trying to protect the children by closing one of the gates when school started. And the LAUS the school district was threatened with a lawsuit.
When an anti-gunner wants to talk about these school security measures and how lax they are, I'll sit down and have a talk. But as soon as they start going, and all we got to do is just ban these guns, these gun accessories, or we got to change the gun-free zones, or we got to make it harder to do this or harder to do that. Okay, conversation's over. Sorry, you didn't hear me.
Yeah, all we have to do is ban that Glenfield Model 60, and everybody will be safer. And that Remington Model 700.
It's just, yeah. And then they think that we don't care about the lives of children. They think we don't care about the lives of children at all. We do. I mean, it's just, yeah. For the people on our side who say, well, we need to give them something. We need to learn to compromise. No, go get bent. Sorry, no.
I told my brother that. I said to him, I mentioned every major piece of firearms legislation, and I said to him, how much more can we compromise? What's going to be left? If we keep being judged by criminals, what's going to be left in 10 years?
There is one thing, Squib, that we do need to give the anti-gunners. The finger.
Hell yeah.
Like I said, I would like to be able to talk to them. I would like to be able to show them firearms and explain firearms history and law and the technical stuff.
In order to talk to them, you need to be a psychologist, because you have to work through all their programming. They've been programmed and brainwashed.
Programming, feelings, all that stuff.
It's not feelings. It's what I'm trying to say is that it's like pulling someone out of a cult. You can't just walk up to them and talk to them. It's pulling someone out of a cult.
Well, no, I'm not going to walk up to them and talk to them. But I'm saying all these ones that say we need to talk, we need to have a conversation. Fine, let's have a conversation. And if they think that my conversation is one-sided, Well, then they're not being open-minded. Sorry.
It's what I'm trying to say is, have you ever like seen those shows or got any information on how people that go in and pull people out of cults? It's a complete intervention. You drag them kicking and screaming, and you lock them in a room. I mean, literally. And so that's how deep the programming is. I mean, the programming is very deep. And I'm not just talking about guns. I mean, you, in order to talk to, what you want to do is talk to someone and have a rational conversation. But you're talking with cult members who have been programmed and brainwashed. They'll drink Kool-Aid with poison at the drop of a hat if somebody tells them it's the right thing to do. And so it's just, and I'm not just talking about Second Amendment stuff. So what I'm trying to say is you have to be able to. That's why I think you should watch The Matrix. But it's seriously, it's the world has been programmed, and so if you're going to try and find, just being able to find somebody who isn't is difficult. I mean. You can run into a lot more people on the internet so you can actually find people that aren't programmed and brainwashed about a lot of things. But given the level and the proliferation, it's like it's just, you need to be aware of it, that having a conversation isn't something that you can do with a cult member. They're members of a cult, and you can't pull each and every person. If you have 300 million brainwashed people in this country, you can't just do an intervention and pull them all out of it. I think one of the reasons I moved to Hawaii was to work. I could work on myself here, and that was the thing. You can work on yourself and just try and get yourself better, and maybe help with your family or something, but trying to have conversations with random people who don't agree with you, that have been programmed and brainwashed to believe things that just don't make any sense, and they're driven by other people with and groups with other agendas. It's like you're dealing with cults. Okay, you're not dealing with rational people. You're dealing with cults, and it's like what was that line from Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas? You can have you can have a rational conversation about gun. You can have a rational conversation about knives, but you can turn your back on somebody with a knife or somebody with a gun, but you can't turn your back on a drug. Well, you can't turn your back on somebody who's been brainwashed. You just can't. And so many people leading the country have been brainwashed. So,
if it makes you feel any better, I used to be against civilians owning guns, so you can't.
Yeah, so was I.
Be converted.
So was I. That was one of the things when I got out of the military. I thought about it and I said, civilians shouldn't have full autos. I was okay with semi-autos, but I didn't think that civilians should have full autos. And then, over time, when I started realizing some of this stuff is crap, I realized that even without the NFA, even without the Hughes Amendment, even without tax stamps and everything else, these things would be so cost prohibitive that's one thing. The next thing would be the ammo bill would be the other thing. And then there would be places that would say, we're sorry, you can't shoot this here. So you'd be restricted on where you could shoot the dang thing. If you just let them be what they are.
So let me ask you a question to show you like another form of brainwashing. Do you think that gold should be money instead of paper money? And if so, what would be the biggest problem of people not being able to use gold for money instead of paper? Tell me.
Well, right now, gold is just one small gold piece would be worth so much that it'd be hard to break it down. So,
okay, it's not fungible. It's not as fungible. But
yeah.
What about okay, well, most people would say that it's the price of gold. Is it in high end? And people have been brainwashed of how much it's worth. And same thing with silver. And they've been brainwashed because it has been driven down intentionally by the Federal Reserve and the big banks. So it's been driven down by phony paper trading. And so people think that silver is like worth 16 cents an ounce, $16 an ounce or something, or $15 or whatever it is. And so how could it, well, and there's not enough gold. Most people would say there's not enough gold. There's not enough gold and silver in the world to get for everybody to, well, it's not that there's not enough silver and gold. It's that it's all too undervalued. So now fungibility is an okay one for gold, I guess, but it's really not that. They can make it. I mean, I've got like a 1/10 of an ounce gold eagle. They sell those 1/10 of an ounce gold eagles. I have got one of those. So the problem is that it's people have been brainwashed as far as the actual value of it by people who want other people to think that this paper money that's issued is actually something more than paper. But if you go to Venezuela, there's like people that artists that, because the paper is so worthless in Venezuela, they actually just make paper mache statues with it, because it's useless for anything else. You can't buy a sandwich without a truckload of paper money, and that just doesn't work. So people are I mean, it's just, well, you could look at Venezuela as far as the future of socialism, but what people think the value of precious metals are is because of brainwashing. And so when people go to you about guns and they say, well, whenever there's a shooting, you have to get rid of guns, it's because they've been brainwashed and they've been programmed to think that if they do that, that'll fix the problem. And it won't. But you're dealing with mass media programming. And who owns the mass media? The financial institutions. I mean, it's not a conspiracy. It's not organized, but it should be a crime.
But HVS, the definition of insanity, is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different outcome. And they keep doing all these things, and we're not getting a different outcome. None of it has worked. Logic isn't gonna override programming. If they've been programmed to believe something, then they're just programmed to believe. They've just been programmed. And it's like, again, it's like pulling someone out of a cult. And in this case, it's like pulling the majority of the country out of a cult. And I think that's what's interesting about Trump, is that he's just like a bucket of cold water in their face. And that's why the media goes, the mainstream media goes crazy when Trump does live events and just talks about off the cuff and says what he really thinks. But anyway, we're going to go into the after chat and we're going to wrap up the show. I want to thank everybody that watched or is watching a replay or just having fun hanging out, or everybody that came on the show. And God bless you all. Try and beat the programming. And I hope Gun Channel's, all the software gets back up really soon. This is Hawaii Volcano Squad, and we're going to go to the after chat.